guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the Hazel Hideaway bag. Now here it is. It is absolutely beautiful. It is large. You can fit so much stuff in it, including a laptop, books, everything. It is just wonderful. So I'm just going to go over some of the features of it, and then we'll get straight into the tutorial. I'll leave chapters down below so you can skip this part if you already know all about this bag. So the great thing about this bag is that it has a little secret compartment, and that's why it's called the Hideaway. So in the front there is this little spot here, and you can open with the magnetic snap, and inside is a large pocket so you can hide away your important things. So on the inside we have a zipper pocket on the one side, we have a slip pocket on the other side so you can keep your important things in there. Since it's such a large bag, you might end up losing things on the inside of this bag. So we have those special compartments. Like I said, it is 15 inches wide. It's about 13 inches tall, 24 with the handle. The handle is an infinity strap that goes all the way down the bag and back up the other side. So it is beautiful, stunning. I'm obsessed with this bag. And we have some beautiful detail work in the front and underneath and on the side. And I really love this bag in black. It gives it a really classic feel. But I'm just going to show you the one that we're going to be sewing up in this tutorial. So I had a little bit of fun with this one, and we did a two-tone on the front with the leather. So I have this beautiful cherry blossom vinyl and then this pebble taupe vinyl. Again, we have magnetic clasps. All the links for any of the materials I use will be in the description box. And then we have that hideaway spot again in the front. You'll be able to hide away your personal items, and you'll have quick access to them. When it's on your shoulder, you'll be able to stick your hand inside the pocket to be able to grab things. Again, it has that zipper pocket and it has a slip pocket on the inside. I love this one. I love the lining. We can see it. The beautiful pineapple lining just makes it a lot more fun. So we're going to be sewing this one up in this tutorial today. So if you want to try this bag out, the link for the pattern will be in the description box below or in the comment section. So I hope that you enjoy. So let's get straight into the tutorial. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is work on the front of our purse. I'm going to be making it into a two-tone with this beautiful cherry blossom vinyl, and then this pebble texture kind of taupe vinyl. You can make it in all one if you want to, but I decided to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to do two different. Here's how it would look if you just did it one color on both sides, which looks really, really nice. But again, we're going to have some fun. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your mirrored pieces and place them with the right sides together. And we're going to sew down this long edge with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, which also equates to 1 centimeter depending on where you are in the world. Okay, so now that we have that seam done, we can open it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a top stitch down the center on either side of the seam. So what I like to do is I like to open it up. I like to get my double-sided tape. I have a 1/4 of an inch double-sided tape. And this will just help to hold it down, but it's not 100% necessary. If you have fabric, then you can just press this. You want the seam allowance to spread open like that. I'll have a link in the description box where I got this double-sided tape. It's from Waywak, and that is located in Canada. It's a leather basting double-sided tape, and it's very strong. So that's how it's going to look. And then when we sew it on this side, we're just going to do it about 2 millimeters from that center seam on either side. And that's just gonna make it have a decorative top stitching. Okay, now we're going to prepare our hidden pocket that is on the front of our bag. And we have this piece and then the facing, and then we have this piece. So these two pieces, once created, they'll be identical. Now my facing is on the left side of this piece. If you want to have it on the opposite side, you can do that, but you would need to take these two pattern pieces and cut them upside down. So I am a right-handed person. I prefer to wear my bags on my left shoulder, and I would reach into the bag with my right hand. So if you wanted to do it the opposite way, you can definitely do that. You would just need to flip these two pieces. So the first thing we're going to do is just prepare these two pieces. So we're just going to take this facing and then line it up on the one side. Now it might look like it comes off the edge, but we just want to make sure that the top edge here is lined up perfectly, because it'll all kind of work out once it's sewn. Okay, so we're just going to sew down this one edge. Okay, so now that we have this facing sewn on, we're going to go ahead and put some double-sided tape on it, and we're going to do a top stitch. We'll do that top stitch onto the vinyl just to finish it off. So I'm just going to go like this and then push my seam down. You can have your seams flat. It depends on what fabric you're doing on this side. I'm just using a light cotton, but if you're using a waterproof canvas, you can either spread open your seams or push them to one side. Okay, so we have this piece all finished, and we are going to grab our hidden pocket lining. And then this is our finished piece with the facing. We'll use this one last, but for here, we are going to place this on top. So that's right sides together. We have our pattern piece. This one's actually going to be reversed in the pattern because I am choosing it to do it on this side. So it will be the correct way. So what you're going to do is you're going to place this on top. You're going to fold back that welt pocket template. And we're going to use our chalk to draw our little template there, just like that. And because this is vinyl, I don't want to pin it, so I'm just going to put some clips just to keep it in place. And we're going to go ahead and sew that rectangle. That rectangle. Okay, so now that we have our little rectangle done, we're going to go ahead and take our scissors and we're going to slice a line going diagonally to the stitches without cutting our stitches. And I'm going to undo these clips, and then we're going to flip it just like that. And because this is vinyl and fabric, I won't be able to press it with an iron, so we're just going to have to kind of press with our fingers. If you have a little wooden roller, that will work too. And then I also like to use my clips to kind of hold it into place. And you want to make sure that that cotton fabric or the lining lines up with the edge of the outer bag piece so that that all gets caught in the seam when you sew it. And what we're going to do from here is we're going to do a top stitch on the front of this little pocket. As you can see, we'll do a nice cute little top stitch here. You can matching or contrasting. If you want this to be non-visible, I would do matching, but if you're okay with, you know, because the idea is that it's a hidden pocket, nobody knows, and only you know that your phone or wallet is hidden in this little pocket. So it's up to you if you want people to be able to see it, or if you want it to kind of blend into the edge or that seam. Turn. Okay, so now that we have our top stitching done, we can flip it over and we can take that last piece, and which is the lining, and we're going to line it up just like that, and we're going to clip it along the edges. So we're going to go ahead and pull it away and then sew along here, pulling it away, sewing along here, and then you can baste this side and then just these little areas right here. And this is how it's going to look from the front. It's really nice. Okay, so we're first going to sew the bottom and the top of this lining. And then we can do a little base stitch right along here, right on the edge. And we'll do a little baste here. It's along here. Now we're going to gather our one lining piece and then our two zipper lining pieces, and we are going to go ahead and make this welt zipper pocket. We're going to have one, and what we're going to do is we're going to find the center of one of our lining pieces, and we can just mark it with some chalk, and then we're going to find the center of one of the zipper linings. And we're going to place these with the right sides together. just like that. Then we're gonna take our pattern piece, and I cut down the short sides, and I'm just folding it out of the way. And then this is gonna give me my template, and I'm going to draw this template with some chalk or ink pen, just like that. And then we're going to sew that rectangle. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some pins on here just because we don't want this zipper lining to shift. Now that we have our rectangle sewn, we're going to remove our pins, and then we're going to take a pair of scissors and we're going to cut diagonally towards the corner of a rectangle. And you want to make sure that you do not snip the threads. These are not the best scissors. Just like that. And then we're gonna get our ironing board, and we are going to press this little welt zipper pocket. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna fold it over. And the first thing I like to do is press the long edge. And then this side should come up naturally, but if not, depending on the fabrics you're using, you try to make it as rectangular as possible. And then those little tabbies are just going to kind of go to the side. There we go, just like that. And this is how it should look, just like that. So now we're going to take our zipper and we're going to place that on top. Like that. And you can pin that or use your double-sided tape. And I like to have the opening of my zipper going from left to right. And we're just going to sew this way and across and up. Okay, so I'm going to change my foot over to a zipper foot. Okay, and I don't like to pin my zipper down because I kind of like to wing it. Okay. I'm going to turn. And then I like to just kind of evenly adjust. To make sure it's nice and even. Move that out of the way. Turn and go up. Okay, now that we have our zipper done, we're going to flip it over to the back. We're going to take our second zipper lining, place that with the right sides down, and then we're going to put some clips And at the bottom, we're not going to sew the bottom because this is going to be how we flip the bag. So what I like to do is I like to fold it up about, you know, 3/8 of an inch, and then I take the other piece and fold it back 3/8 of an inch. And then when we go to do a top stitch to close it up at the end, it'll just be easy to go right across. So I'm going to go ahead and press that really quick. And by doing it first, then that fold will go into the seam. There you go. So now we can easily just sew straight down, leaving this open. And if you want to base the top of this, you can, but this fabric will end up in the top seam when you go to put on your facing. So I usually just tend to wait until I do that.
Have that zipper lining.
Okay, so now that we have our zipper pocket installed, now we can take our facing and place that on top. And we'll do the same thing where we will sew it and then we will flip it up and do a top stitch.
Okay, I'm going to throw on my zipper foot again. And careful with your zipper pull.
Okay, now we're going to start working on our slip pocket. What we're going to do is we're going to take this long piece and we're going to fold it in half. And then after that, we're just going to sew up the two sides and we're going to leave this part open. Just going to go ahead and pin this into place. Again, we're going to do that with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance or 1 centimeter. So now we're going to remove our pins from our slip pocket. We're going to use some scissors and we're just going to cut the corner where the fold is. And then we're going to flip this right sides out. Clipping the corner is going to help to reduce the bulk so we can get a sharp corner. And you might want to start heating up your iron for this part so we can get this nice and pressed beautifully. So from here, I'm going to measure down about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to fold this up to create our slip pocket. It doesn't need to be precise as we only need about 1/2 inch that's going to go into the seam. So giving it about 1.5 inches works perfectly. And so now we're going to take it to the sewing machine and we're going to sew down the sides, and that's just going to finish off our slip pocket. Okay, so now we're going to place our slip pocket. So we're going to take one of our lining pieces, which is the other one that we're not using for the zipper. We're going to fold it in half to find the center. Again, we're going to find the center of our slip. And we can center that. We're going to take one of the bag facing pieces, which is this guy, and we're going to place that. And this slip pocket will be secured within the seam, so make sure you catch all of those edges when you're sewing. Same thing we're going to do with the other ones. We're going to flip this up once we're done, and we're going to do a top stitch on the vinyl. Okay, so now we're going to work on our lining strap. So as you saw in the pattern, we're going to have one long piece that's made out of the outer fabric. That's the exterior strap. But when we're doing it with the lining, we're going to make it half and half. That's just going to reduce the bulk. It's going to be a lot more difficult if we had the strap on the inside of the bag, also vinyl or a thicker material. So as you can see, we have this piece, and then this is the lining of our bag. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your exterior and you're going to lay that on top, and you'll see where it lines up because this will fit perfectly. And we're just going to go ahead and sew that with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and this will create the two parts of a very long infinity strap. Okay, so now I have my strap done, and I am going to do a top stitch. So I'm going to grab some double-sided tape and I'm just going to use that to hold my vinyl down, and I'll do the top stitching on the vinyl. Now these seams are purely decorative, but they really add and make it look like a more professional finish. So I'm going to go ahead and do those top stitches, and then I'm going to take my strap and I'm going to flip it with the right sides together, and we're going to sew the bottom so we'll do those two things at the same time. Okay, so here are our two pieces of our strap. As you can see, they are quite long. They don't fit in the frame. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the two large ends and we're just going to put those together. And we're going to sew that with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And we're not going to sew this part yet because this will be done later on in the making of this bag. Okay, so now that we have our strap done, we're going to go ahead and take the bottom seam and we're going to, again, we're going to flatten that seam and we're going to do a top stitch, and that's just going to mirror the front of the bag. And it's going to look really nice seeing that decorative top stitching go around to the back of the bag. And using a contrasting thread will really highlight those stitches. Okay, now we're going to start putting the side gusset, which is also the strap, into our bag. Now, on your pattern, there will be a spot where you can mark, and that marking is going to tell you where it should land at the top of your pattern piece on both sides. So on the front, we have our center seam, we have the center seam of our strap. So we're just going to line those two up together. I like to use a lot of clips when I make this, just to make sure everything works out beautifully. And when you have that little notch, you can go ahead and just place it right where it needs to be, and then clip it, and then just clip together to make sure that this is nice and smooth. Okay, well, that's how it's going to look. And then again, we'll do that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now, for me, I like to actually start in the center and then sew this way, and then again, sew that way. But it's up to you how you want to do it.
Okay, so I'm going to start from the center. And try not to pinch the fabric. If your fabric is really stiff, you might need to cut a few little notches in it. And now this is where the pocket is. So we're gonna make sure that we do not hit that pocket. And you might even wanna go in and pull it a little bit.
Okay, so we have our strap onto the front of our bag, and now we can grab the back of our bag and do the same thing. So I went ahead and found the center notch to the bottom right there, and then we will put that center notch lined up with the bottom seam. I notched on my strap so that I know where to place. And then we'll do the same thing where we just kind of follow it along and clip.
Okay, so we have our lining pieces completed, our slip pocket piece, and then our zipper pocket. And we have our strap. I have already notched my strap, so I know where to place them. And we can just start with whatever one you want to start with. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the front. We have our seam on the strap, and we'll line up that seam with that notch. And I'm going to go straight up to that notch. And do the same thing. This one's going to be a little bit easier because it is the cotton fabric. Now I have made this with waterproof canvas, and that works out perfectly. The only thing is it's just going to make for a little bit of a more rigid, stiffer bag. So you just need to keep that in mind. Whatever look you're going with, we're going to see at the end of this how it's going to look with the cotton on the inside. I definitely recommend cotton for the inside of that hidden pocket because that is a lot of layers in the front and it'll make that really heavy. Now along here you're going to be lining up that seam with that seam. And then it'll kind of look like a continuation of the top stitching all around the inside of the bag, which looks really nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this. You kind of get the gist of it because I did it on the outside. And then we will go ahead and sew it up. Okay, so we're just going to go over the little magnetic clasps that we're going to use. I'll have a link for these in the description box below or in the pattern, but you're going to need two, and that's of course optional if you want to have them for the main closure of the bag and then one for the hidden pocket. Hidden pocket, I think I would want the most. Things most likely won't fall out, but just to be sure, we're going to put these in. There is a male end, which has a protruding part, and then the female end. And then it will come with two of these little metal discs. So two for each set. So again, these are optional, but if you want, you can use these. Okay, so I have the exterior of my bag all sewn up. So now I'm going to be installing the magnetic snap into the front pocket. I'll go ahead and open this up so that we can have better access. Now I like to do this now only because I don't want to risk accidentally hitting the snap when we're sewing the side seam. I like to have the snap 3/4 away from the edge of this seam, so it can get pretty tight there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark where I want my snap to be. You can use the markings in the pattern if you want to. You can pre-mark them, pre-cut the holes if you want to, and then just simply install those snaps super quick. I did not do that, so we're just going to center it. So it's 6 inches, the pocket, so I want it to be centered at like 3 inches. I'm just going to put a little chalk mark there, and then I will measure in about 3/4 of an inch. I will take my little snap, little metal piece, and I use that as a little template, and just lining up the center of my snap with that 3/4 of an inch marking, I'm going to take a pen and draw a line And then that's going to map out my little snap there. I'm going to cut the slits that I have created in that facing. I like to stick it in. I go to the end of that line and then just cut. And then I'm going to take the female end and push it through those slots like that. Flip it over so that we can see on the inside. And then I'll take that little disc, put it on, and I like to push my little prongs outwards, just like that. Now we need to find the spot for the other side. I'm marking, draw a line, and you are still able to access this area through the opening of the bag. Just like that. And insert the male end. In the exact same way. Opening up those prongs. It can be kind of strong. And then we will check to see. Perfect. So we have the strap on our lining and we have the strap on our exterior. And now we are going to slip the outer into the lining. And as you can see, I already have my outer right sides out. So we're going to, actually I want to have my zipper on the opposite of the front of the bag. One reason why I say that is because I usually like to have my zipper against my body, and if this is the the front of the bag, then this on the inside will be where I want my zipper. So I did find the center of here prior, so I went ahead and notched that. And we're going to line up that notch with that center seam there. And I did not find the center of the other side, which is awesome. Okay, and I'm going to undo the zipper so that I can flip it. Now, when we get here, okay, we are going to open it up and bring it together. So as you can see, it's kind of like lined up perfectly there. And I'm going to put a clip